Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Of all the things that the Upanishad purports to get rid of, and this is what we were talking about earlier, two things take primacy. The removal of fear, known in Sanskrit as bhayanivritti, or the removal of sorrow, known as shokanivritti. Many things you want to get rid of, but when we plumb deep into what the nature of these things are, then they can be clubbed into either fear or sorrow. We fear sorrow and we are afraid of fear. This is what it amounts to. These two emotions, it takes up the whole of humanity. Any kind of crime or anything, it's done out of fear. Some kind of fear includes insecurity, so many things. Sorrow. Sorrow usually results in certain injustices being done to oneself, really. So these two emotions run humanity. Not the dogs and the cats. Even though the dog may look very morose, if you deny it something, no walk, if you say, it will not hear the no, it will only hear walk. Yeah, and it will be very happy. No, not going for a walk. Oh, the ears droop, the tail is drooping. And you think that the eyes are filling up with tears, but there is a certain amount of anthropomorphization going on. Anthropomorphization means imbuing, transferring human emotions onto things that are not human. We do it with Bhagavan also. Today he is smiling. Arey? Today you are in a good mood, okay? He was always smiling. Or not, doesn't matter. Oh, today the goddess looks angry. It's all in one's mind. Today she is happy. She dropped a flower. Like this, there is a certain anthropomorphization going on. Barring that, these powerful emotions of sorrow, which includes hurt and fear, which includes anger, all this belong to the human being. They are the privilege of a human being alone. And therefore we have to be very, very attentive when the Upanishad says that it can remove without a trace sorrow and fear. For whom? For the ones that come to it. For the ones that are able to approach the Upanishads. For what? For the sake of studying its message, internalizing its message. That is basically what it is. And so, therefore, these two emotions become highlighted. And we see certain Upanishads that are focused on shoka nivritti. Like chapter 7 of the Chandogya Upanishad. Narada the sage goes to Sanat Kumara for instruction. Not on how to assemble an IKEA table. No, instructions, instructions on how to overcome self-ignorance. And he says, Bhavataha sadrisham, from Bhavata, like from you, from the likes of you, we have heard. What have we heard? Ātma-avidyā shokam tarati. Shokam taratyātma-avidyā. We have heard that the knower of the self, the ātma-avidyā, ātmanam vetti iti ātma-avidyā, the knower of the self crosses sorrow. If you don't cross sorrow, you are crossed by it. And then you become very, very cross. Okay. So, therefore, this is what it says. So Narada says this to Sanat Kumara, I have heard from the likes of sages like you that the knower of the self crosses sorrow. And I know so much. I know so many things. Shochami, but I am still sad. Shokasya param tarayatu bhavan. Please, O revered sir, teacher, take me on the other side of sorrow. What's on the other side of sorrow? Happiness. Yes, don't overthink. Yeah. Some answers are simple. Yeah, please, those of you who are not wearing a mask, for everybody's protection, please wear a mask. There should be some outside if you don't have one. And I don't even mind if you come late to class, but if you have forgotten the mask in your room, go back, get it. Please, please wear a mask. For my sake, if not for you. Okay, I have a lot of travel coming up, and I would really appreciate it if you are here and you wear a mask. Thank you so much. So then, this is the Shokasya Param Tarayatu. Please take me to the other side of sorrow, which is what? Happiness. What else is there on the other side of sorrow? Take me to this happiness, which is myself alone. Then this is, and the Bhagavad Gita is also based on this shoka nivritti, the principle of sorrow removal that consumes the entire Bhagavad Gita. Although there is some space made for fear and fear removal in the last in the 11th chapter and all, but primarily the focus is on what? The focus is on shoka nivritti. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. It starts with that. Oh Arjuna, you are a mess. Why are you a mess? Because you are a mess primarily because you are grieving over that which does not deserve grief. And then all the way to the end, ma ashuchaha. Do not grieve. So the whole thing is about grief removal. Then we have things like the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, certain chapters of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. One vakya, one sentence definitely states, forcefully states. What does it state? It says, Dvaitadhi bhayam bhavati. The cause of bhaya, what is bhaya? Fear, is duality. Duality is the cause of fear. Openly it states. And the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is our Upanishad in question, is also focused on fear removal. Udaram antaram kurute athatasya bhayam bhavati. Ut aram antaram kurute. Even if the person makes a difference between oneself and another, And what is the size of the difference? The size of the difference is the razor's edge, the thinnest of blades. That much difference. Then, even if you make that little bit of a difference, fear ensues. Then, between these Upanishads, the ones that focus on the fear and the ones that focus on the sorrow, you can't really make a distinction except topic-wise. Because the Upanishad that takes care of the fear also takes care of the sorrow. And the Upanishad that takes care of the sorrow also takes care of the fear, because all these emotions, these strong emotions, stem from the same family tree, the matriarch of which is avidya, Mataji. That is what it is. It comes from the same family tree. Some offspring are called fear, some offspring are called sorrow. That's all. So it's not that we have to decide which Upanishad to study. Oh, I have more sorrow, so I'm going to study Chandogya, and I have more fear, therefore I'll study Taittiriya Upanishad. It's not like that. It's just that this very convenient bifurcation is made to show which are the two strong emotions and how the Upanishad deals with them. But it's not because these two emotions are watertight. In fact, far from it, they bleed into one another. Fear and sorrow are very much together. If one is sad for a long time, one starts getting frightened. What's wrong with me? Why am I sad? Like this. And vice versa. If one is frightened, then sorrow also ensues. It's not so watertight. But still, from the standpoint of the focus, we have shoka nivritti and bhaya nivritti. Shoka nivritti is samsara nivritti. Bhaya nivritti is also samsara nivritti. If you remove shoka, if you remove bhaya, it is as good as removing samsara. It's the same thing. It's not anything different. So, this is why we need to, the Upanishads need a very careful study. So, we have come up to here. We have come up to delineating the I as not really dependent upon the body, the mind, the senses, or any other accoutrement. The I, which expresses itself as I am, regardless of any other thing in the heart, in the mind, wherever it is, it expresses itself forcefully. This I is not dependent even upon the mind. It simply is, because it is able to observe the mind also. The mind, for which is an object of observation. When you say, I am angry, you are not angry. You are the observer of anger. You are the observer, in fact, of everything. So therefore, this I alone is to be understood. Then the question may arise, what is there to understand? I know I exist. Then what else is there to do? I know I exist and then I'm done, finished, gone. Not so fast, says the Upanishad. You know you exist, but the very next question when it is asked, what happens? I know I am. Okay, who are you? Then what happens? All kinds of wrong ideas come and crowd the head. And these wrong ideas are the cause of sorrow. The I is known, but partially known, like even a serpent lying in twilight. Serpent within quotes. A serpent lying in twilight. Upon closer inspection, you turn on your cell phone flashlight and you look at this thing with 3 bends. What does it turn out to be? Rope, or rather an aropa. Okay, that's why it's called rope. It's a aropa, a superimposition, so to speak, upon the rope of a snake whose body, the body of the snake, is composed of what? Your fear. The snake body is made up of your fear. Your fear is the ingredient which crafts the body of the snake and puts it where the rope is. Why? Why does that happen? Because the rope is not recognized for what it is. That's why we always take the twilight example. Because in broad daylight, what happens? Who will mistake the rope for a snake? Again, show some signs of life, all right? Yeah. Extra points. Yeah. Who will mistake the rope for the snake? Nobody. Unless one is out of their mind. In pitch darkness, you can't see even your own hand. It's that dark. Will you mistake the rope for the snake? No, because you can't see it even. So the twilight becomes a very delicious ingredient in this example because you are half seeing the rope and half not. You know, asti kaschit, asti kinchit, something is there. But what is that thing is not there, is not understood properly. Something is there, and then a fear is also there in the mind, and that fear projects onto that partially known thing, distorting it. And the body of the snake is nothing but, is identical to, and nothing outside the body of your own fear. Your own fear transforms into the snake superimposed upon the rope. This is why it is called aropa. Your own fear. And when that fear is withdrawn, thanks to the fact that you have your cell phone and you can shine the flashlight, oh, this cannot bite. Even though it is a frayed rope, it looks like this at one end. Almost like that split tongue of the snake. Rope is not frayed. You are frayed. Okay? Very, very frayed. That's what you are. And so that snake, what happens to that snake? Where did the snake go? Did it slither away in the bushes? No. Where did it go? Back to your head from where it had come. The snake, which is a projection, is withdrawn upon learning the truth of the rope. The rope, technically speaking, is called adhisthana. No translation for the word adhisthana. Adhisthana, you can say, that's all. There is no translation. That which becomes a sitting duck for all kinds of projections, the truth, is called adhisthana. Badly translated as basis. Adhisthana. So, without the adhisthana, an aropa or a superimposition cannot take place. In the absence of the adhisthana, no aropa takes place. And again, a projection, an aropa, cannot take place when the adhisthana is totally unknown. You cannot have an aropa over an unknown adhisthana. In the same vein, you cannot have an aropa over a known adhisthana either. So when are the circumstances right for an aropa? When the adhisthana is somewhat known. Then the circumstances are right for it to be mistaken for what it is not. Same thing. Now in the place of the rope, you say self. You put the self. This was the example up till now. Now we have that which is exemplified. This is the darshtanta. Example, drishtanta. That which is exemplified, darshtanta. So from the standpoint of the darshtanta, what do you see? What is it that's there? I am. Is this known or unknown? Abba, thank God. There is still hope for me. Okay, I can continue to talk. I am is known, right? And we, at least more or less unanimously, those who responded, we agree that I am is what? Known. But there are many, many unknowns. What is unknown? What I am is unknown. I am Brahman is unknown. I am free of fear, unknown. I am free of sorrow, unknown. I am the nature of Ananda, I am limitless, unknown. So many unknowns. Only just a bare minimum knowledge of my own existence, that's all. That's all is known, nothing else is known. I am, I exist, and I cognize myself, and I recognize all the things in the universe, that's all is known. And therefore, the I, the Atma, becomes a sitting duck for all kinds of projections. I am dash, fill in the blanks. Unworthy. I am underconfident. I am an idiot. I am guilty. I am hurt. I am not good enough, never good enough. I am an imposter. I don't know how I got this job. I don't know how I'm going to work every day. I think I'll be found out one day and they'll kick me out because I really don't know what I'm doing. I am worse than everybody else. And sometimes the other side is also there. I am better than everyone else. But what? But underneath, what is the feeling? I'm no good. Therefore, I have to pretend that I'm better than everybody else. Therefore, I have to show off that I'm better than everybody else. These are all what? I am ... That ... is the factory, is the production of the factory of the unconscious mind, which is the storehouse of pains, sorrows, fears, and tears. So just like over the partially known rope, a snake, your own fear in the form of the snake was projected. Similarly, over this barely known I, all kinds of wrong understandings are projected. This is the problem. Anything that you say about yourself is a notion, is a perception. Anything other than Satchidananda is a perception, is a notion. And that is what has to be removed. You cannot remove each and every notion. You remove the whole thing that causes the notions, the root that causes the notion, namely the I has to be known. How to know this I? Upanishad. We already saw that. The Upanishad is what is the mirror that shows you who you are. That converts the autobiography of a bhogi to an autobiography of a yogi, really. Bhogi means consumer. And the Upanishad does not, even though it's in the form of a book, is actually live knowledge, like coals, that is transmitted from teacher to the student who then becomes a teacher, to then another student who becomes a teacher, and so on, in an unbroken lineage called teacher-student lineage. Guru, Shishya, Parampara. Para, that which came before, Apara, that which came after. Para, Apara, Parampara. That lineage ensues the safety of the message of the Upanishad so that it is not distorted by individual biases. The lineage makes it safe because this is exactly how the teacher unfolded it, and this is exactly how his teacher unfolded it. This is exactly what her teacher unfolded it. This is exactly how his teacher unfolded it, her teacher unfolded it, and then it is all the way to Bhagavan. Why do you have to bring Bhagavan? Because that's where everything came from. Even your own body has come from there. Everything has come from there. First teacher Bhagavan, first mother Bhagavan, first father Bhagavan. So this is how we trace the whole thing. And the lineage makes this knowledge safe from individual biases, from power-ridden, hubris, power-hungry kind of hubris. Some kind of narcissistic, spin-off. I am God, but you are not. Very easy to say. Keeps it safe from that. Because it is a particular way of unfoldment whose methodologies have been guarded and then given with a wonderful. The methodologies are given with a wonderful reverence and an understanding that it will definitely transform upon hearing. This is how everything proceeds. And that is why the knowledge is so sacred. But this is very hard to understand for some reason. Not just some people somewhere, everybody everywhere. Even though it's so straightforward, it's very difficult to assimilate that all I have to do in order to lose the ignorance is relax and listen to the teachings from somebody who has undergone the teachings. In the same way that I am undergoing these teachings right now. In somebody who's undergone that same transformation that I am seeking to undergo, all I have to do is sit and listen. It seems too easy. At heart, one is a doer. One wants to do the Upanishad. Doing the Upanishad is the greatest travesty because really what the message of the Upanishad is nothing to do. Be yourself, that's all it is. And the self that is unfolded by the Upanishad is that you are awareness. You are this simple awareness that is without a second, that is all knowledge, that is limitless, that's what you are. But we want to manufacture this knowledge, or we want to get to this place through so many actions, because we are used to this catch, kill, conquer mentality. catch, kill, eat. This is the prakrita buddhi, bestial buddhi from previous lives of being a big cat, a hyena, or some other predatory animal. Because we've led numerous lives. Thousands and thousands of lives, and so some of the samskara means samskar or other, okay, has come down and it is repeating itself in this form. Catch, kill, eat, sleep, and then get up, catch, kill, eat, sleep. One day gone. Catch, kill, eat, sleep. Second day gone. Catch, kill, eat, sleep. This becomes the mantra of life. This becomes one's MO, modus operandi. Very difficult. Very difficult to approach the Upanishad with the catch, kill, eat mentality. What are you catching? Your own tail, really, like the dog I told you earlier. Nothing to catch. What does the Atma say? Catch me if you can. But you can't. You can't. Why? Because the catcher is you. The caught is you. That which is to be caught is you. In fact, it is not, it is not really to be caught at all. It is to be taught. It is not to be caught. Caught means there is agency. Here it is operating on a different, it's operating on a cognitive plane. Losing the ignorance is what this is about. It's not about trying to catch, kill, conquer, eat. What are you going to catch? Catcher is what you want. What are you going to kill other than self-ignorance? So the mentality of a conqueror, which is there, for us to emulate in world history. From Alexander not so great to not so great Britain, we have a whole series of conquerors. First conqueror, now conquered out. That's all it is. The Kala Chakra, the wheel of time, keeps revolving. So we worship conquerors as heroes. This is what we have done. The mentality is so well entrenched that I am pursuing something and I have to catch it, bring it back and show it, and this is what people do. Even hunters, they just come home with the head of some cheetah, etc. And then they stuff it and mount it and then on the mantelpiece. All this is not necessary and not possible for the Atma. You cannot catch the Atma because it is you. It is nothing other than you. If it is other than you, it can be caught. And this is why one needs a special kind of a help. Because there is a contradiction. Kartru-karma virodha. Kartru-karma virodha means the object is you, the subject is you. That is the contradiction. Any other object other than you, you can catch, kill, eat. No problem. But what are you going to do with you, which is never an object, never visible? That awareness is not visible. That awareness is not subject to being caught. That awareness, that consciousness is not there as in a tangible form. Yet it exists. We cannot say it is not there at all. It is shunya, it is non-existent. We cannot say. Why? Because I know I am. I exist. So I know it exists. And so therefore, the orientation of this catch-kill mentality has to be overcome. Otherwise, the Upanishad, the message of the Upanishad will go like a plane above the head. Lots of noise, no comprehension. Lots of noise, but no comprehension. And in fact, that is what will bring us to this mantra, which we will chant, and then we will see how it connects to the Taittiriya Upanishad. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha Anandam brahmano vidvan na bibheti kutascha neti etagam havavana tapati kimaham sadhuna karavam Kimaham papamakaravamiti. Yeah, that's enough. Rest we can see later. Then, this is the mantra. And what is the mantra trying to say? It is narrating a story. Some of which, I'm just embellishing the story a little more, that's all. For ease of comprehension. Two fellows were the greatest of friends. One we shall call Vak. What is Vak? Speech. And the other one we shall call Manas. What is that? Mind. Mind and speech are always together. They are the greatest of friends. They have a nice synergy going because they are very complementary. Very interesting, very, very complementary. How? Because what one does, the other cannot do. It's like a lame man riding on the shoulders of a blind man. What is happening? It's a wonderful synergy between the two. Blind man can walk, but he knows not where he is going. The lame man can see, but cannot walk. So the lame man says, hey, take a left here. Avoid that tree, you're going to bump into it. Watch out, there is a ditch. Move this way. Go left, go right, go straight. And so they team up in that way, the same way, the mind and the speech. Speech is in awe of the mind. Oh, look, you can build castles in the air. I can't do that. You see so many things. You are so creative. Can I be your scribe? Yeah, sure. Mind is also quite envious and appreciative of speech. The mind says, you know what? You just are so methodical. You can bring my castles in the air to light. My amorphous thoughts and visions, you can put it on paper. You can articulate in a way that no one else can. So happy with you. And that's why they are the greatest of friends. And they went on an escapade one day together. What did they say they would do? They told the entire village, we can go bring back Brahman. BBB, bring back Brahman. Mission BBB, Operation BBB. What? Really? Nobody has able to bring back Brahman. What do you mean you can bring back Brahman? How is that even possible that you can bring back Brahman? Watch us. And you don't know. When we are together, you don't even know what all we can accomplish. We will bring Brahman. But Brahman is Bhagavan, yes. But it is said that it is so, it is without name, without form. How are you going to bring? Just watch. We'll bring. But you don't know where even Brahman is. Doesn't matter, we'll hunt it down to the ends of the earth. Wherever it is hiding, we'll bring it. Don't worry. And the villagers are in awe. They give Vak and Manas a very big send-off. They put tilak on their foreheads, put garlands on their neck, do arati, and drums, big kettle drums and pipes and everything. They serenade them, take them to the edge of the village and wave until they go out of sight. And they go in, good standing, it with a good intention. It's not that they are fobbing the villagers off or pulling wool over their eyes. They really want to bring back Brahman because that's what they do for a living. The mind conjures, the speech puts a paint on it and brings it to light. This is what they do. And then they don't know where to go. Wherever they go, everything is Brahman. What? How can everything be Brahman? Where is this Brahman? Nobody knows. Can't catch it. Can't bring it back. They are at a loss, at a total loss. They go everywhere and are told that nobody knows where this Brahman is, A, or B, how to bring it back, they don't know. So when they left on the quest, they left in broad daylight after being serenaded and after a very big send-off ceremony. Because they were going to bring back the most precious thing on earth, which is the Atman, which is Brahman, which nobody knows how to get. And that is the rahasya, it's the secret to happiness. Having this Brahman, knowing this Brahman is the secret to happiness. But the mind thought knowing means conquering, catch, kill, eat mentality. Knowing means I have to catch it, I have to hold it, I have to categorize it, I have to name it. And I have to measure it, what is the size, put it in a box, and then that means I know it. Because that's how one knows the objects. It's like small infants, crawling children. Whatever they get, they will put in the mouth. It's not that they are hungry, but this is how they understand shapes, sizes of objects because they are very tactile at that stage. They put everything in the mouth. Then the mother has to run and then take it out of the mouth. So similarly, the mind is like that. It puts everything into its mouth and then categorizes it. This many feet wide, this many feet deep, or inches deep, inches wide. This is the color. This is the jati, this is the species, this is the subspecies. Oh, what does it do? Oh, it jumps, it runs, it dances. Okay, one category for each. Or it doesn't do anything at all. That is also another category. The mind functions in the form of categories. It has many files there. Immediately it compares. This behaves like that, but that doesn't behave like this. All scientific discoveries are based on comparison. It's like this, but not like this in this particular way, but in that way it is like this known entity. This is how we operate. This is how the mind operates. And the speech, as I said, is a scribe. It takes it all down and then publishes the paper. Some association. scientific association, medical association, some journal will be there and it will come out. Along with the hypothesis, along with how this hypothesis was proven, and along with what is the results of this experiment, etc., etc. But here, bring back Brahman experiment turned tables on the experimenter and made an experiment out of the experimenter. The mind felt very shy to give up. It had in fact never encountered a situation where it had to give up before. Therefore, it was extremely embarrassed. And speech became what? Speechless. Same thing. Speech became speechless, and the mind said, never mind. This is what happened. They waited till nightfall, slunk back into the village when nobody was looking because they did not want a mala of footwear to be put on their neck. Because they had taken money from all the villagers. A small part of the story I forgot to tell. Research expenses. Grant. Research grant. Go fund me. Research grant. And of course all of that was used up in comfort eating, frustration eating, etc. Because they were all very upset. And sometimes when one is upset, one does all kinds of things. There is something called, what is that called? Retail therapy. Going and buying things you don't want. Some of the grant money was spent there. Granted, it was a difficult situation. Then some of the money was spent in comfort eating, and it's not called comfort eating. What is it called? Emotional eating. And you understand what I'm saying. And in buying needless things. So the grant money was all gone. And if they had come and told the village people who had funded them and who had serenaded them and who had made them go and gain all these things, sorry, could not find Brahman, they would have gained a lot of stones, eggs, tomatoes thrown, rotten tomatoes. So therefore they slunk back into the village in the night, unseen. The next day in the morning, when they woke up, they heard that some guru had come into town and was teaching the Upanishads. They said, oh, perhaps this is what we needed to know. It's happening right in our village, and we went all over the place. For no reason, we went all over the place. Oh, but then if we go into the class, maybe chappals means footwear, will be thrown at us. So they very hesitatingly entered the class. The teacher welcomed them and told the other students to hold off on the footwear. Welcomed them, made them sit. Where? In the back, not in the front. That is where the mind and the speech belong. It's not that this knowledge can be gained without the mind. It's not a mindless pursuit. The mind has an important place. What is that place? Of an assistant. Not of an agent, but of an assistant. That which offers a place for the knowledge. Since the knowledge is sacred, the place that is offered also must be sacred. You can't have a lot of clutter in the mind and then say, okay, here is this little corner where there is no dust and no cobwebs. Right there you sit down. And then for you can't invite the knowledge. The knowledge is limitless, it is huge. It is looking for a place where it can just freely be. So a mind that has a lot of clutter in the form of wrong priorities, a penchant for fear, sorrow, all these things, first has to undergo a transformation. It has to de-hoard the excess baggage of all kinds of needless emotions, notions, and get to the place of certain emptiness of notions, and get to the place of being present without presenting itself as the author of that presence. It has to get to this place of being okay with itself. And then the knowledge will speak, because finally there is space. Similarly, the vak has to be silent. If the mind is silent, naturally the vak is also silent. The vak is also important, because otherwise how is this knowledge communicated? We'll see all this through the words that we alone know. Through the words that we know, only those words can be used. And that is how the mind goes from the place of the teacher, the king, enthroned and enshrined in the middle of the heart, in the kingdom of the heart, as the manufacturer of everything, including this knowledge. That is the mistake, and that mistake is removed when that kingdom is taken away, when that king is removed. The mind in the form of the king is dethroned, and then it is brought back through the back door. Usually, in these big hotels and some other places, museums, hotels, these big organizations with big buildings, there is one entrance for all the people. And then we have what is called a service entrance for deliveries, which is in the back. That's the place for the mind to enter, not through the main door and the red carpet. That's for VIPs. The mind now is an assistant. And in this capacity, it functions very well for Vedanta Shastra. To assimilate the Vedanta Shastra, it is very, very useful. It functions very well. Speech also likewise is an assistant. And in that capacity, once dethroned from the place of being the agent of this knowledge, they have to learn their new role in the form of assistant. Without any kind of shame or embarrassment, they have to embrace the new roles. And the quicker they embrace this new role, the easier it is for everybody. Everybody means for the whole knowledge to take place. Otherwise, the mind cannot be in the place of manufacturing this knowledge, because for many reasons. First reason, anything that is manufactured is finite. We are talking about the infinite. So that doesn't count here. And then anything that's manufactured is finite, because there was a time it was not, there was a time it is, and there will be a time it is not. Then the second reason is that anything that is manufactured tends to fall apart. That which is put together falls apart. I am looking for that which never falls apart. which is the truth of myself alone. And I am not manufactured, I already am. I'm already existent. And then upon this existence, there is a lot of wrong superimpositions which have to be removed. This is where the mind has to come to this kind of a reckoning in order to proceed with the Shastra. This is illustrated very well in the first verse of the Amrita Bindu Upanishad. Manaha eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. The mind itself is the cause of both bondage and liberation for the human being. Manushya means human being. Bandhaya vishayasaktam. So for what to do? How to say that, how does the mind how is the mind a cause of bondage? A mind that is steeped in the desire for all kinds of objects other than itself is potentially a cause for bondage. Vinirmuktam, that which is free of objects, becomes an aid for liberation. Freed of the, what is that? Kind of a dysfunctional addiction to objects. We are not talking of desires or trying to control desires. We are talking of the dysfunctional identifications or addictions to objects. When that is not there, then it becomes an aid for liberation, that kind of a mind. But if the mind is mired in various addictions and dependencies and addictions are not just substance abuse or alcohol abuse, although that's like an overt example, but dependencies and addictions run deep and they can take very, very innocuous forms. I can't live without this TV show. It's a dependency. I can't live without these kinds of shops or these kinds of people around me. These are all dysfunctional dependencies. And that plunges the mind more and more into a notion of bondage. And when the mind is freed of these dependencies, then it becomes an aid to moksha, liberation. Same thing we see in the stories that we tell children also. Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati had two sons, the story goes. Who were they? Ganesha and Kartikeya, Subramanya. Oh, but that's three. No, Kartikeya and Subramanya are one. Synonyms. Then there was a rare celestial mango. Mango has one problem. It cannot be cut in half. It can only be cut in thirds. And there were two fellows. In fact, it could not even be cut at all. So Goddess Parvati, the mother, declared, whoever goes around the universe 3 times will get this fruit. Subramanya was the doer, mover, shaker, and has the mascot of the peacock. What is peacock known for? Vanity, exactly. Yes, I have this wonderful peacock, I can do this in a trice, me, I'm off. Poor Ganesha, first thing he did was looked at his belly. That was barely able to hold up his dhoti. Then he looked at his vahana. Vahana means the mascot. What was that? A small mouse. And the whole universe means it is so huge. Then he had an idea. Hey, the mother and father are the whole universe. They are the creators of the universe. And all I have to do is circumambulate them 3 times. And so he did. The parents were so happy. And they gave him the mango. And by the time a breathless Kartikeya came back, this fellow had polished off everything and was spitting out the pip, the seed. Got irate. How could you do this? This fatso sitting here all this time didn't even do anything. Look at how much I have done. Look at how much I have achieved. And what is this? This dude didn't do anything. Yes. Sitting here, eating the fruit. Both of you are unfair. When the parents said, well, look, he recognized us as the source of the universe, as the cause of the universe. And that is what it is. A fruit which cannot be cut into portions. This is metaphoric of Atma, that is partless. And who gets to partake of this partless knowledge? One who recognizes Bhagavan as everything, including the truth of oneself. This is all embodied in the thing, in the Shastra, in the stories that are told to small children. Now with that mindset, tomorrow we'll see more of where this Taittiriya Upanishad will lead us. And how to, first we'll see the vision of the Upanishad and where it will take us. Then after that we'll look at some practical tips on how to free oneself from the emotions of fear, hurt, sorrow, etc. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.